Ava is 7 now. She's in first grade. She is a happy soul. I always say from birth that girl was born smiling. She's very resilient. She loves school. She loves animals. She loves horses. She's quite a little artist also.
In the fall of 2009, when Ava Mayling was 5 years old, she was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, a rare form of bone cancer that attacked her right leg.
When your child is diagnosed with cancer, I think it's every parent's worst nightmare. You know, emotionally, you're so devastated because your job is to protect your child. And here you're in a situation that you have no control over. So you deal with the horror and fear of losing your child. I struggled with the worry of watching her suffer, and that I was worried that it would change her, that it would damage her or alter her, because she was such a sweet little person.
Ava underwent more than 8 months of intensive treatment, including surgeries and chemotherapy. Her parents were fortunate to have health insurance, but when doctors put Ava on a feeding tube, Matt and Anita saw clearly one of the gaps in their coverage.
Our health insurance said, well, we are not going to pay for the formula, which was $2,500 a month. We were just flabbergasted. And they said, well, we'll cover the cost of the feeding tube and the pumps and all the physical stuff, but we won't do the food. And our surgeon was so irritated by that. He called and spoke to the head of the person who made that decision, and he said, well, families already have to feed their children. So, you know, they have to cover the cost of the food. And he said, well, what child eats $2,500 worth of food?
The Mayling family used credit cards and got help from the community to pay for the formula. But they encountered other financial challenges too, which eventually required tapping into their retirement savings. They also found themselves worrying about the effect Ava's cancer would have on her ability to get insurance coverage in the future.
It finally entered my foggy brain at that point that, oh, Ava's going to have a pre-existing condition for the rest of her life. She's going to carry this. This is going to be like a black letter. Who's going to want to insure her?
Under the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, it is now illegal to reject a child for insurance coverage because he or she has a pre-existing condition. In 2014, the same will be true for adults as well.
When Ava was in having one of her last treatments, and I also just happened to hear that the healthcare reform law had passed, I remember exactly where I was in the hospital, because I remember thinking this, like a weight had just been lifted off my shoulders. And I remember thinking, one less thing to worry about for my little girl. I remember that day clearly. I remember walking down the hall and talking just briefly to another mom whose child was in chemotherapy treatment. And I remember thinking, saying to her, this is a great day for our kids.
Ava and her parents recently learned that Ava's leg is clear of cancer and her prognosis looks good.
Ava is a healthy, happy little girl again. Sometimes it really chokes me up because I'll see her doing something with sheer joy, and it just knocks my socks off to think, here, after all she's been through, and she still has joy, and she's still the same sweet little girl. Just shows you the resiliency of the human spirit.
Anita still worries that some of the progress made by the Affordable Care Act could be rolled back or eliminated. After her family's ordeal, that possibility is hard to accept.
From my experience, if you don't have your health, the American dream is not going to happen for you.